What's this? Nolan North says that video games are sexist. What? Huh? Not you, Nolan. It's another day, another article, and another victim to the poison Kool-Aid that feminism loves to serve on a platter, in a jar, with ice, any flavour you want. And it just so happens to be the one guy who's in absolutely every video game you could possibly imagine, loved, universally almost, by gamers for his absolute talent and supreme voice. That is Nolan North. Yes, Nolan North. Nolan North. Drake from Uncharted is a raving social justice warrior. So, let's read this article and say goodbye to our most beloved friend, Nolan North. You were great on this ride, but now you have to go. And you probably saw the title earlier. Video games are sexist, claims Uncharted 4 star Nolan Nathan Drake North. Rest in peace, North, rest in peace. Actor described as games industry's leading man says women have too often been portrayed with big boobs and bikinis. And of course, that is a bad thing, people, of course. Actor Nolan North, star of the hit games series Uncharted, has sensationally admitted that computer games are sexist. North, who is world famous as the voice of swashbuckling hero Nathan Drake, said games too often featured women with big boobs and bikinis. Sexism in games is a hot topic at the moment, with feminists demanding designers introduce characters with more depth than the typical scantily clad damsels in distress. Where to start? Where to start with this? Okay, right. Firstly, what he's basically saying is, and what the article is basically saying is, that because these women, who aren't even a majority of video game characters who are female anyway, are sexist depictions because they have big boobs and scantily clad bodies, basically. That is in and of itself sexist. So I don't know how Nolan North in real life stops himself from being triggered when he goes onto the beach and sees scantily clad big boobed women in their bikinis. I do not know how he can have such a problem with it in video games, but not so much in real life, not so much in his films and his TV shows and his books, you know, and his porno mags and his porno websites. Oh wait, maybe he would, because he is a social justice warrior now. I mean, notice how the article tries to make it look like a massive victory for them, and in many ways it kind of is. But look, they've got Felicia Day and Will Wheaton, so he's now going to be an arsehole, and he will quickly, hopefully, be public enemy number one now. But, you know, that's just my opinion, man. That's just my opinion. They seem to think that because these women are scantily clad and big boobed, they have no character and they're damsel in distresses. That's absolute bullshit. Most of the big boobed, scantily clad women are people like Chun-Li, who, by the way, isn't really scantily clad, but, you know. Poison, who's transgender, but still a woman, in my opinion. Transgender woman. Bayonetta. Titty pick, any of the big ones, tend to be in fighting games and RPGs where they are fighting men who are massive, bigger than them, and are kicking the shit out of them. So let's not forget people like Quiet, who I assume they will be addressing in this article. They are badass. They can stand up on their own. They can kick the shit out of any man, even though she has powers. But whatever. She can kick the shit out of guys. She can turn invisible. She's got a story arc that is worth following to the end. If you give her like 10 out of 10, she likes you, you know, loyalty rating. So to say that just because these women in video games, who aren't even real by the way, so I don't even know why I'm calling women, they're just characters, they're polygons really. have no character now, damsels in distress, just because they have big boobs and scantily clad, is fucking stupid. That is stupid. How do you get from, oh, big boobs, scantily clad, therefore sexist and have no character and are damsels in distress? Notice how even Nolan North, who works on video games as a voice actor, and this article don't have a fucking clue on video games. Yeah, I know that the voice of Cortana wasn't a gamer, and I guess I can't really, criticise Nolan North if he's not a gamer because he is an actor. But if memory serves me correct, was he not considered a gamer? Like, did he say he was a gamer or something? Well, if he mentions it, we'll find out next. In an exclusive interview with Mirror Online, Nolan North admitted the industry had a gender problem, but offered a hopeful perspective on its future direction. For a long time, games were just, you could call it sexist, said the father of two. It was just business, because what happens when teenage boys are your main audience? You design big, badass superheroes and women with big boobs and bikinis! However, he also predicted this sexism would disappear as gamers became older and more refined. Oh my god, where to start? He's just parroting the same old bullshit Anita Sarkeesian parrots, people. Oh my god. So, despite the fact that most gamers are actually in their 30s, 10 years younger than Nolan, hell, they're even in their 40s, and people like my dad are in their 50s, they still play these games. These games are made for them. Most of these games with the scantily clad women who are damsels in distress, apparently, are made for adults. 18 plus, 17, take your pick, whatever rating system in your country. That is apparently sexist, because this is something that a particular demographic wants. A demographic that Nolan North has participated in, has been a part of at one time, and is still a part of, if we're going to group all men aged 18 to 35 together. I mean, let's not forget that on the cover of Batman Arkham City, on the back, there's Catwoman. That's showing, And let's not forget that he's in there with massive titted women, like Poison Ivy's got the biggest tits I've ever seen her in on Arkham City and all the other Arkham games. The black, Catwoman, etc. A lot of the women there have these traits. Yet he's criticising the very games he has been a part of and will continue to be a part of as sexist, because they have these elements and they appeal to certain elements of, a demographic, even though they're being played by people older than teenage boys like me. I'm not a teenager, I'm 22 nearly in 2 months. So not only is he patronising the majority of the gaming audience who are well above the age of 16, 13, he's got it flat out wrong, because how is this sexist? All they're saying is it's because these girls have big boobs and have bikinis, therefore it's sexist. Oh, and it appeals to men, therefore it's sexist. But don't worry, as they get older, their tastes will become more refined. That's bullshit, because men will always like big boobed women in bikinis. I don't know, maybe that's just you, Nolan North, and you're projecting onto us in your old age as a father of two. But as far as I know, me and my dad love looking at big boobed women. I've seen loads of older guys continue to like shit like that. A lot of them were brought up in a world where curves were much more, of a sex symbol, like, Marilyn Monroe and all the 50s and 60s pin-up girls. So to say that your tastes will refine and you will, forget this whole, big boobed women thing is absolutely absurd. Because it's a thing both men and women like. We forget about lesbians, but, we forget about all these minorities and LGBT groups when the argument suits us. So he's wrong there. This is sexist because apparently it appeals to men, and these women have big boobs and don't wear a lot of clothes. Sound argument, Nolan, sound argument. Fantastic. Gamers used to be kids, stoned in the basement, with their earbuds in, jamming out to rock music and playing video games, he continued. But as players get older, they are expecting better material. He pointed to the redesign of Tomb Raider star Lara Croft as evidence sexism is getting better. Right now, it is incredibly heartbreaking to see someone who is as beloved as Nolan North tar all gamers with the same brush. You know, gamers used to be boys who were stoners and were locked in their basement with their earbuds in, jamming to rock music. No, Nolan, no, not all gamers are like that. Not all gamers have been like that. Most gamers have been people playing games in their living rooms or in their bedrooms or anywhere, and they have normal social lives. They might not even listen to rock music. They might listen to, I don't know, pop music or synth pop, because you're talking about back in the day, in the 80s, I assume. Hell, they might even listen to early hip hop. You don't know that. You're tarring us all with the same brush. You are parroting the same lines that the social justice warriors use. This is your audience, the people who pay you to make their games better. They pay you for this shit. And you're shitting on us by basically stereotyping us to suit your narrative and agenda. And yes, maybe as we get older, we do want better material. But that doesn't mean that the big boobed women and the scantily clad women have to go out. Because as we have seen with Bayonetta and other mature-rated video games who have these types of characters, they are very much wanted by a mature audience. They are very much wanted by men and women who play these games. You know, these are elements that have been a core of a lot of, hell, literature since we first learned to speak and orally address people through the mode of storytelling, and then later we wrote it down. These women have been there since humans first became bipedal, since we started populating the earth so much that there's now 7 billion of us. You are basically telling the games industry to basically take away an entire section of women just because they have big boobs. That is sexist. And that is prejudice, in my opinion. And you seem to think that just because a game has these elements, it's automatically a bad product. It has undesirable traits. It is subpar, which, funnily enough, is most of your fucking repertoire. Most of the work you have done consists of these women and these guys who are big, massive superheroes with larger-than-life features and character traits, etc. You shat on your own fucking work, Nolan, and the awareness that you are lacking is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I cannot believe that you just assume that all the video games you did in the past are problematic now. But you know, it's okay when you do it, but when other people do it, whoa, we got a problem here. Whoa. And Lara Croft, it's funny how you think that was a good thing. Many feminists hated it because now she looks like a man. That happened, Nolan. That happened, and yet you think that's a good thing. In recent years, this famous female icon has been altered from a ludicrously pneumatic sex pot with massive boobs to a lithe, battle-hardened explorer. The campaign group Feminist Frequency recently claimed women's bodies are employed as rewards for player actions, a pattern which frames female bodies and sexuality as status symbols designed to validate the masculinity of presumed straight male players. It also suggests that 9% of games showcased at this year's E3 show exclusively featured male protagonists. Earlier this year, a survey indicated that more than half of teenage boys think games often portray women as sex objects. Uncharted 4 or Descend, the next installment in the Smash series, is expected to be released next year. Where to start with that? Immediately, as soon as we see the feminist frequency thing, I have to, sound the alarm. I have to sound the alarm. Because not only has that been debunked so many times, women are not used as status symbols to validate masculinity. They are not. Let's get that out of the way. They are there because the creator thinks that would be a good character, and to a lesser extent it would appeal to certain audiences, like the vast majority of men like me, and a certain minority of women, lesbian women, or bi women, or bi men even. Hey, even gays and straight women enjoy big boobs. That is wrong right there. That is a load of assertions upon assertions upon assertions that have now been considered and taken as fact by you people without even looking at the actual facts. And that survey that suggested that half of teenage boys think women are sex objects, complete bullshit. It was all fabricated. As usual in that research, it came across the complete opposite of what they wanted. But using cognitive dissonance, they basically said, oh yeah, half of boys now think that they're sex objects and they don't like it. When half of teenage boys fucking love this shit. That's why they want it. That's why they buy it. Or rather, their parents buy it, because they shouldn't be buying mature rated content unless they're 18 or 19. And again, Lara Croft. Continuing to talk about Lara Croft. If anything, she's become less of that battle-hardened explorer. She was always the battle-hardened explorer. It's funny how you got everything in reverse. The new revamped Lara Croft is not the battle-hardened lithe explorer. She is the rookie, the one who's been thrust into a situation she did not want. The amount of brutal things that happened to her, or nearly happened to her, is something that would never happen to the 90s and early 2000s Tomb Raider. It just wouldn't happen. And also, let's not forget the death animations as well, are quite horrible for a Tomb Raider game. It's the prequel where she's this, little kid. I mean, not little kid, but she's a kid who's been thrust into a horrible island full of horrible things and people, and she has to survive only by the skin of her teeth. Just barely surviving. Yeah, the mirror has to get it all in the wrong order because that doesn't suit the narrative. She wasn't the battle-hardened explorer in 1 to 3 to, 4 or 5, was there? No, instead she was just a sex object. A sex object with big boobs and polygons everywhere. And that is bad. And so, despite the fact that 9% of games at E3 this year had exclusively male protagonists, that's not good! A minority of games, my fucking minority of video games, 9% had exclusively male protagonists. That is not good enough. We've got to have zero or no male protagonists, no exclusive male protagonists, because that is sexist. And Nolan North says so, Anita Sarkeesian says so, Full Macintosh says so, feminism says so, social justice says so, and that, my friends, is why we have to fight them. This is why Gamergate exists. This is why anything that is anti-social justice or feminism exists, because they try to be parasites and control art and politics and life, because they don't like what it looks like and they have to change it because it doesn't suit their ideology. And video games are just one aspect of this culture war that we are fighting. I did not want to be a part of this. To quote Adam Jensen, I didn't ask for any of this. So, I'm going to leave it on there. This has been Charming Man 93. Like, share the video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, goodbye Nolan North. Here's to you.